Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to Market Raisin and learn more about their proposed expansions to the town trail. And we take to the streets to find out your opinions on the report, which says Humberside police arrest rates have dropped. And we also have a New Year's reflections from the Bishop of Grimsby. And my guest tonight is Jonathan Byrne from YMCA Humber to talk about this year's Sleep Easy event. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard. Now it's time for the news headlines.
Detectives are continuing to hunt two men they believe were responsible for Saturday's shooting at a Hull branch of McDonald's. Targeted searches are ongoing in the West Hull area as Humberside police claim they have very good evidence to say who the two offenders are. Superintendent Darren Downs says they'll continue to target and disrupt their daily lives until they're caught. It comes as scenes of crime pictures have been released to highlight just how close the bullets came to the passengers of the Volkswagen Golf. Officers are appealing for witnesses after a shop worker was attacked as she walked to a Scunthorpe car park. The incident happened in an alleyway running between West Street and Gurnall Street in the town at around 5:45 p.m. on Monday. The 44-year-old victim was heading towards the car park when a man demanded she handed over the keys to the shop. When she refused, the man attempted to snatch her bag and assaulted her. The suspect is described as around 5'8" tall, of medium build and wore a dark hooded top. Lincolnshire Police paid out over £250,000 on interpretation costs in a single year, according to new figures. It follows a Freedom of Information request by the Conservative candidate for Lincolnshire Police and Crime Commissioner, Mark Jones. It shows that during 2012-2013, the force spent £370,000 for translation services for over 30 languages, including Tagalog, a Filipino language, and Tigrinya, which is spoken in the Horn of Africa. And new signs have been put up on Beverley's historic Westwood pasture amid fears the area is turning into a car park. 6 signs are now in position on Westwood Road between the gatehouse and the junction of the B1230 to Walkington, and 2 on the Newbold Road informing motorists that parking is now limited to 4 hours with a fine of up to £500 for anyone overrunning their stay. There will be a 2-week period of grace for any motorists caught offending. And 2 special events are being held to remember the 75th anniversary of the passing of Hull's aviation heroine Amy Johnson. A monologue and street performance has already taken place besides a statue on Prospect Street, and Codoma 94 hosts an event at 7:30 on Tuesday evening to celebrate her life. Born in Hull, Amy was famed for being the first woman to fly solo from Britain to Australia. That's all for the news. As usual, you can get in contact in the usual ways by emailing news@estuary.tv or by giving us a call. And that's all for the news.
Many towns in the Lincolnshire Wolds have a long and varied history. Recently, Market Raisin's history was brought to the forefront thanks to the efforts of the Race Heritage Society, which created the Market Raisin Heritage Trail. Now they want to expand the walk to include more sites and more people and to take it online, as Dave Nunn went to find out.
Like many towns in the Lincolnshire Wolds, Market Raisin is steeped in history that not many people may know about. That's why a local group in the town set up the Market Raisin Heritage Trail.
Well, the trail started because every so often we do projects and we started to research various buildings and people in town. There's a lot of history in town and people tend to forget what's there and perhaps don't even know as the people who have come into town. So we started a project where we started writing about things like the railway station where we are now, which is a Grade 2 listed building, and various other buildings in town that should have their history known but don't.
The group running the Heritage Trail were approached by the Market Raisin Business Improvement Group to take the tour onto the web as a virtual tour, with users being able to call up information on their smartphones regarding certain buildings. Hazel says the Mr Big organisation's help has been vital in getting the virtual tour up and running.
Amateur historians, we don't know anything about the way the media works. We're not very good at the Facebook era yet. We're learning. But they obviously knew how to do that, and so we sourced funds through the Heritage Lottery, All Our Stories, and we were successful. And so we started to put together the stories we knew of the town And then we asked the people to vote for them through the Raisin Mail, which is a very old paper in town. We asked them to vote on a list of 20 topics, which were the top 10 they'd like us to research. And we got a fairly resounding response, and with clear indicators of which buildings they wanted us to talk about. So having that, we went off to research them. We also researched individuals. There's some important individuals were born here that no one knows about. And so the project moved on from there. So we passed on to Sarah and her team the stories, and then they put together this tour.
The tour has been a great success, drawing in visitors to Market Raisin from all around the country. Now the tour is expanding. There are plans to include many more buildings for people to learn about, and the stories of soldiers from Market Raisin who fought in the First World War have been included in the tour.
And it's been very successful, and we've won 3 awards from it over the years. And then end of last year, we put together a exhibition in the library describing the lives of some of the soldiers who'd gone off to World War I to commemorate, as everybody was doing, the starting of World War I. We're not just the people who are unfortunately named on the War Memorial, but people who actually came back as well and how it affected their lives. So we placed them in the context of where they were born, what their families did, and what they did when they came back, plus the few unfortunates who didn't. And we put that display in the library, and that was well received. And Sarah contacted me and said, look, there's a small bit of funding left. Would you like to add those to the virtual tour? And we thought that's an appropriate thing to do, bearing in mind the time of year we're at.
Hazel hopes 2016 will see continued expansion for the tour and educate more people about the unknown history of Market Raisin.
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we have a New Year's reflections from the Bishop of Grimsby, and we find out your opinions on the report which says Humberside police arrest rates have dropped, and we'll have a roundup of all the latest local sports news and results. Now, it's that time of year again when attention turns to raising money for those vulnerable people who are forced to live on the streets. This year's Sleep Easy event, organised by the YMCA, takes place next month. But before we find out from Jonathan Byrne about this year's Sleeping Rough event, let's take a look back at last year's event when Estuary reporter Dave Nunn spent the night outdoors.
Another year and another Sleep Easy has come and gone, and this year there are record numbers. Over 170 people took part in our area, with over 100, including myself, doing it in Grimsby, with people taking part for a variety of reasons.
This is the 5th year on the trot now of being taking part in Sleep Easy, but to be honest, it's a great event. I enjoy it in some respects, but on the other hand, it doesn't give you the reality of what it's like to be homeless.
So it's just after 9 o'clock here at the Sleep Easy 2015. As you can see behind me, people are really settling for the night, despite the fact that it's pretty cold here. It's about -1 at the moment. What we have to remember is we're here and we've got people providing us with things like nice warm chicken soup. But out on the streets, real homeless people are really suffering, and that's why people are here sleeping easy tonight. The Sleep Easy may not offer the full experience of being homeless, but Dave Carlisle, who manages the charity Harbour Place, explained to me what it would actually be like to be homeless on a cold night.
Pretty awful, I would think. Harbour Place actually is open tonight for people who's rough sleeping, and so tonight the ironic thing is we've got the people who would normally be sleeping rough indoors, nice and warm, and we're outdoors. So it's good to actually get a little taste of it, but it's not something that nobody would like at this time of year, or any time of the year really.
The staff from Harbour Place who volunteered at the Sleep Easy, who look after homeless people as a day job, really appreciate that people are sympathising with their clients.
It's a good cause. I did it last year and I'm doing it this year, and most probably I'll do it till the day I die. But it's a lovely cause. It helps with us working with the vulnerables and the homeless. It's a good cause.
Another year and another Sleep Easy is over. The 2015 Sleep Easy is about to come to an end. It's 5:45 in the morning and it's probably about -1, -2, and I've had 2 hours sleep, so I'm pretty knackered and I'm pretty cold. But I think it's taught me a valuable lesson about being homeless, because here we've had extra things like people making us hot drinks and people to talk to. Actual homeless people probably are largely on their own and they don't have that sort of stuff available to them. So the Sleep Easy has really taught me a valuable lesson about what it's like to be homeless, and I'd certainly recommend other people do it in the future.
Well, with me in the studio is Jonathan Byrne from YMCA Humber. John, this takes place obviously every year. And it's this month, I have to say, not next month. It's January the 29th. We saw Dave there for that first year of his venturing out into the cold. You do this all the time, don't you, when you're pretty much?
This is my 6th year doing the main Sleep Easy, and then we've done ones at schools and colleges throughout the year as well. So yeah, I'm well versed in Sleep Easy events now.
And I know at the end of the day, people look at that and go, oh yeah, it's all right, you're in a car park. But you're raising awareness of what is actually happening every day on the streets, aren't you?
That's right, yeah. I mean, I think we'd probably be naive to think that when we say somebody sleeps on the streets, that they literally sleep in the middle of the street. Everybody looks for shelter and things. And from experience, Freshney Place car park, although it's got the roof to keep the wet off you, the wind howls through there like anybody's business in the late January, so it gets very cold indeed.
Yes. Now, I know this seems a very short interview, but we are going to come back to you after the advert to continue talking about Sleep Easy. This seems really weird. It's Christmas time just after. Stay with us, because after the break, we're going to find out your opinion on the report which says Humberside police arrest rates have dropped, and we'll have all the latest local sports news and results. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, the Bishop of Grimsby brings us the New Year's message. We find out your opinions on the report which says Humberside police arrest rates have dropped, and we'll bring you the latest local sports news and results. Now, still with me is Jonathan Byrne from YMCA Humber, talking about the Sleep Easy event. We were so rudely interrupted there by the ad break, John. We were talking about that because at the end of the day, it is to highlight people who have no choice sometimes but to find shelter on the streets, don't they?
It is, yeah. It's not just about raising the money, it's about raising the awareness of, well, that there's maybe young people out there who are finding themselves in a situation where they are, or perhaps possibly becoming homeless, and they want to know where to turn, which organisations to look for. So that's what we try and do through Sleep Easy.
Okay. So basically people get together a team or individuals, don't they?
Yep.
And they spend the night undercover. So you've got venues in Grimsby and Hull, haven't you?
Yeah, venues in Grimsby and Hull this year. So Grimsby is the Freshney Place multi-storey car park. Again, it's the East car park, which is the one nearest the riverhead. Okay. And then over in Hull, it's the KC Lightstream Stadium, which viewers will probably recognise more as Craven Park.
Yeah.
So that's home of Hull KR. So we're holding it there for the first time this year.
Okay. And in terms of numbers of people, I mean, do you get healthy amounts of people taking part in this?
We do, yeah. The numbers have increased year on year. So last year in Grimsby alone, we had 125 people taking part, which is a tremendous amount. And there was probably around 200 taking part on the night across the region, so it is really healthily attended.
Yeah, and obviously raising money. What did you raise last year?
We raised £20,000 last year, so that takes the cumulative total to 125,000, and we spread that, we share that out amongst different homeless charities. So this year it's YMCA, Harbour Place, who are in Grimsby, and Child Dynamics, who are in Hull.
Okay, and what type of things then would you spend that money on?
We've spent some of that money this year on what we call SWEP accommodation. That's severe weather emergency protocol. Okay. So when somebody actually does get brought off the streets, they go to a room in YMCA for the night, emergency accommodation. Okay. So we've spent some money improving the facilities there, and also getting things in that they can be provided with when they leave and are sent on the way to the home options team to get more suitable accommodation.
I mean, have you found, because I suppose when we think about people on the streets, it's rather Dickensian that you think in this day and age, people shouldn't be living like that. But you say some people have no choice, do they?
No, some people have no choice, and the latest statistics from Crisis, who are a major sort of homelessness organisation around the country, say that homeless has increased 55% in the past year alone, and that equates to around 25% increase in this region alone. And when we always say that doesn't include the people who are in our hostels, we have 150 young people in our hostels, so we've got 4 projects across the region. They're not included in those statistics, but they have no home of their own. There'll be young people out there, or people of any age out there, who maybe sleep on a friend's sofa or a relative's sofa, and at the end of the day they're one step away from being out on the streets.
Well, people obviously can make a difference. So it's January the 29th, and if they go to the YMCA Humber website, will they find the details
if you go to the website www.sleep-easy.co.uk, you'll find all the details to register there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming in. I'm hoping Dan Kemp might sign up for Hull. Right, well, it's the start of a new year, and today's reflections comes from the Bishop of Grimsby, David Court.
So an advert to be shown in cinemas before the new Star Wars film. Just 57 seconds. Different people, different voices praying part of that prayer that we know as the Lord's Prayer. With the tagline at the end, prayer is for everyone. A website, justpray.uk. What could possibly go wrong with that? Except, if you were following the news at the end of last year, you will know that it did. And the advert was banned, breaching the guidelines, the reason given. And I know that given my role, given the job that I do, you'd expect me to say it, wouldn't you? But it does seem, as we prepare to enter a new year, a strangely sad decision. Your kingdom come, your will be done, says the prayer, here, now, on earth as in heaven. It's a prayer for a world where all people are treated with respect and dignity, regardless of race, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of colour. It's a world where we treat others as we would want to be treated ourselves, where love, forgiveness, a commitment to try and live at peace with those we share this planet with is what we try to do. Who wouldn't want to live and work for a world like that? Subversive when it was first written almost 2,000 years ago? Absolutely. A challenge to the ruling powers of then? Again, absolutely. Still needed today. A prayer that's intended to move us out of a cosy what's in it for me religion to a more world affirming what difference can I make faith. I think the answer is most definitely yes. Your kingdom come, your will be done. The kind of world we all long for in our deepest, in our best moments. That's what the prayer is all about. And that's what I'm going to join with millions of others in praying as we begin together another new year.
Humberside Police reports one of the biggest percentage drops in the country when it comes to the number of arrests made. Official figures for 2013-14 shows there were 19,284 arrests for the same time period. Between 2014-15, there were 15,851. The Police Federation has warned this may be down to cuts to budgets across the country. We asked people in Grimsby what they thought.
I think they should be arrested for, where the crime they've committed, and they shouldn't let them off so easily.
Yeah, obviously it's a good thing for the town and that, you think, yeah. I can't see it being a bad thing, like.
I think people aren't reporting them. I think there's still as many crimes, but it seems a waste of time to report them. The police don't do anything.
People don't bother phoning because they don't respond. Just send you a crime number and that's it. Unless, well, I'm not going to say anymore.
Well, I don't know how to answer that really, because it seems to be widespread, doesn't it? And there's not a lot you can do, like.
It's good news if it doesn't mean that if it's not because police numbers have fallen. Yes, yeah, so there's fewer policemen to arrest people, but it's difficult to know without knowing what's behind it.
Well, I suppose that's good, really. If it's fallen, it's better for the community, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
I don't think much of the Humberside police at all, so I ain't got much time for him.
I don't believe that there's less crime at all. Never have. I don't think there's enough force on on the ground, police in uniforms on the boots and keeping it away from what actually happens. And they miss a lot out. There's not enough punishment at the end of the day. Punishment is sparse. It's a joke, really.
I mean, I think there's been quite a few incidents when people haven't been called out to, that sort of thing. But I think these cuts aren't good anyway. I'm about to lose my job soon. And, you know, a lot of people just haven't got the money.
There's nobody to convict them, is there? Nobody to catch the burglars or the killers or anything. That's the reason why it's gone down.
Now it's time for the sport.
Facing Scunthorpe United will be a hard game, that's according to the Chelsea goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. He's been speaking to the Premier League Champions official website ahead of the clash on Sunday at Stamford Bridge, where he says he's confident his side can go all the way in this year's competition. Meanwhile, Iron midfielder Jamie Ness says his side are going into the game under no pressure and that he and his teammates will look to enjoy the experience. Arsene Wenger once tipped new Grimsby Town signing Connor Henderson for replacing the Arsenal first team, it's been revealed. He made his Gunners debut back in 2011, but a series of injuries curtailed his spell at the North London Giants. Henderson yesterday signed a contract at Brundle Park until the end of the season, having been on loan at the club since November. And another deal signed at Grimsby Town today is that of young keeper Callum Bastock, who signed his first pro deal with the club. North Ferriby United manager Billy Heath has praised the clinical finishing of his side during their 4-0 demolition of local rivals Gainsborough Trinity. Speaking to the Hull Daily Mail after the win, Heath also said he was delighted to take 9 points from the Christmas fixtures ahead of Saturday's top-of-the-table clash with Solihull Moors. And another line of Villagers news is that midfielder Liam King has been named National League North's Player of the Month for December. And finally, some rugby union fixtures from the weekend. Hull Ionians made it 6 defeats in 6, going down 37-13 to Richmond. Elsewhere, Scunthorpe RUFC ran in a massive 76-7 win over Spalding. That's all your sport for now. You can get in contact in the usual ways by emailing sport@estuary.tv or calling us on Grimsby 01472 31 553. That's all for the sport.
I'm loving Dan's kiss curl look there. That's it for tonight. If you have a news story for us, visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or give us a call. Until tomorrow, good night.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Rix Petroleum, your local family-owned heating oil supplier this winter.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Wednesday is remaining mostly cloudy, but showery rain slowly easing through the day, becoming dry. Maximum temperatures of 7 degrees. Thursday sees rain clearing to scattered showers by the early afternoon.
Rix, servicing the region's oil boilers this winter from a name you can trust. Get in touch at rix.co.uk or call us on 01482 838383.